Function and arrays. Here is another use of arrays with functions, that is passing arrays to a function. An array can be passed to a function as parameter. When an array is passed as parameter to function, only the address of first element of the array is passed. An array is passed by reference, not by a value. A separate copy of array is not created in the function. The syntax to pass array to a function is as following. To declare a function with array parameter is, first of all, write the return type of the function, then function name, and then into the parentheses enter the parameter with array brackets. Where return type of the function, it indicates the type of the value that will be returned by the function. Function name is indicated the name of the function, and parameter with brackets are the values that are provided to a function when the function is called. The brackets with parameter indicates that the parameter will be an array. So to pass an array argument to a function, specify the name of the array without any brackets. Number 2, the array size. In C++, arrays are passes to a function only by reference, not by value. The value of the name of the array is the address in the computer's memory of the first element of the array. For example, int stdmarks and into bracket 50, this is our array of 50 entries with the name stdmarks, means student marks, and its type is integer. When we use this array into the function, we write void display marks into brackets std marks and 50. Here void is the data type, return data type of the function, display marks is the function name, and std marks is our array name, and 50 is the values. The entire array are passed by reference. Individual array elements are passed by value exactly as simple variables are. To pass an element of an array to a function, use the subscript name of the array element as an argument in the function call. For example, void modified array int b bracket comma int array size. Here void is the return type of the function, modified array is the function name, int b is the array with bracket indicates the indicates it as it is an array. Int array size, it gives the total size of the array. In this example, function modified array will accept an array of integers as parameter. So simply another example is void modified array int any array name brackets comma int any variable name. Here we write first the function modified array, the first parameter is array, and second parameter is any value we used in the function. Here is an example. Into first of all, we declare a function void display int marks 5. Then we write our main program int main, and into the main program we write int marks bracket 5. We create an array with the name marks and type integer with 5 values that are 88, 76, 90, 61 and 69 stored in marks array. Then we call our function display and marks, and after that we return 0. Into the function, when we pass array to this function, we write y display, and then we write the int m5. We give the address of the array to this function. Then into this function we write cout display marks and to display these marks one by one we use for loop with the variable I. So this program declares a function display that accepts an array of integers as parameters. The main function inputs five integers in an array and then passes the array to display function. The display function displays the values in this array one by one. Here is the output of the function: 88, 76, 90, 61 and 69. These are the values stored in the array, and these values are displayed in the function. When an array is passed as an argument to a function, only the name of an array is used as argument. So that is display marks. Here marks is the array name, display is the function. Number 2, also notice the difference while passing array as an argument rather than as variable. If we pass this array as a variable, we call this function as y display int m, and then we enter the size of the array. The argument marks in the above code represents the memory address of the first element of array marks 5, and the former argument int m5 in function declaration convert to int m. This pointer points to the same address pointed by the marks. That's the reason, although the function is manipulated in the user defined function with different array name m5, the original array marks is manipulated. Here is another example. In this example, first of all, we define a function print, that is void print into parentheses int a bracket comma int length. Here void is the return type of this function, print is the name of the function, and int a. This function uses two parameters, one is int a and second is length. First parameter is an array and second parameter is a simple variable. Then into this function we use this simple parameter to display the values in the array. For this we use for loop. We write for int n is equal to 0 and less than length, then n plus plus cout an, where an and every time an incremented one, and it indicates the next value in the array. So in the main program we write, so first of all we declare an array. We write int array brackets. This time brackets is empty because we store values immediately after declaring this array, so we do not need to mention the size of the array. Compiler automatically calculates the size of this array. So we write int array bracket is equal to 5, 10 and 15. We pass three values in this array. Then we call our function print, and in as we write function with two parameters, so we call it with two parameters. One is ARR comma 3, one is array and second one is a simple variable. Here we have three statements. One is get data. Get data is a function name, and this function use two parameters. One is array and second is a simple variable size. This function will get the values of 5 numbers from the user and store them into an array. And second problem is that scale of data, and in this function scale of data, again we use two parameters. One is array and second one is size, simple parameter. This function will receive the array of numbers which was input through get data function as parameter and then calculate the scales of these numbers at each index. And the last problem statement is another function. This function is named display data, and again this use two parameters. One is array and second one is the size. This function will display the scale data of the function. So here is the solution of this problem. As we declare three functions, so first function is get data. This get data function has a wide return type, and it has two arguments, int array and int size. Here we pass 5 to the size of 5 value to the size parameter. We use this parameter to store 5 values in first parameter array. So into the curly braces we write cout input numbers, then we use for loop to enter 5 values in first parameter, that is our array, and we use array I every time I incremented and indicates the next value in the array. Same problem, the second function. To declare second function we use wide scale of data, int array and int size 5, as we enter 5 values in that array. So we here again we use the same parameter with the same value 5, and this time this calculate the scale of every element in the array. To calculate the scale of every integer stored in the array, we write for, we use for loop, we write for int I is equal to 0, I less than size I plus plus, and then we multiply array index with the same index to calculate the scale of the data. Last function is our display data. In this function we use the same two variables, int array and int size, and in the body of this function we write cout, and to display the square root data calculated in the previous function, we first of all we want to display square data on the screen, then we use for loop to print the values, square values of the uh, calculated in the previous function. So we write for int I is equal to 0, I less than size I plus plus, and then we cout array element by indexed values one by one, and then we close the function. So in our main program, first of all we declare variables const int size equal to 5. Here size is a variable of data type integer and we store a value 5, and we use a keyword const in before declaring this function. It means it freezes this parameter and we are not able to make any change uh, in this variable while writing our functions. So then we declare array and we use this size in the array. Int data is the name of the array and size is mean 5. This array has 5 elements in it. Then when we call our three functions, we declared one by one. First function is get data, second is scale of data, and last one is display of data. Then we use return 0 and close the. Here is the output of our function. For example, if we write input 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then the scale data is 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25 display on the screen. So program inputs 5 integers in array and passes each element to function. These values in each element is passes to n. The function displays the original value and its scale on the screen one by one. How to copy one array into another array? For copying data from one array to another, both the arrays need to be of same data type and same size. For example, if we want to copy the data of first array into the second array, then the first array which has the data type int and the size 10, and then so the second array has the same data type as the first array, that is int, and the same size, that is 10. So here is the process to copy data from one array to another array. First of all, we initialize the both arrays, then we copy first array into the second array by using the index elements of both arrays. For example, for 0 index values, we first array index 0 is equal to second array 0. It copies first array uh, 0 index value into this second array at 0 index. Similarly, second array 1, second array 2, second array 9 is equal to first array 9. So each index copy from the other array index at the same time. Or we have another better code. We use loops instead of copying or writing each index separately. We use loops. So if we have two arrays, first array and second array, we both have int data type and same size 10, then we use for loop. In for loop, we simply write the second array index which in which we want to copy the data from the first array and makes it equal to the first array of the same index. So here is the example. For example, first of all, we declare a first array and a second array. Then we use a for loop to enter values into the first array. We write for int I is equal to 0, I less than the size, I plus plus, and in the body we enter the values in the first array. We use again for loop to copy these values into the second array. Then we write this code as in the body of the for loop, second array into j is equal to first array is equal to j. Then we print the values on the screen. We write cout after copying cout first array second array elements, and we use similarly for loop to print all the values on the screen. So here is of our program. When we, for example, when it asks us to enter data for the first array, we enter 1 2 3 4 5. Then it shows us the values of second array and first array after copying, that is 1 2 3 4 5 in first array, and similarly these 1 2 3 4 5 copy into the second array on the same index values. Here is a problem statement, that is write a C++ program to merge two arrays in a third array. In this program we enter an element in any two arrays, and then these two array elements of array are stored in third array. Here is another problem, that how to merge two arrays in the third array. For this problem, we write a program int main, and in the main program we declare three arrays with data type int, and first is a, second is b, third is c, and each array has 5 elements in each. Then we uh, enter the values in first array. We write cout enter elements in first array. Then we will use for loop to enter the values in this array. We write for I is equal to 0. Basically we write for int I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Then in the body for loop we use scene object to enter values in this array. Then we use another statement for array B, and similarly we use another for loop to enter values in the second array. After entering the elements in the second array, we combine these two arrays in the third array. So we use another for loop for int I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, and then in the body of the for loop we use the third array C, and first we store first element of array A into the first element of array B. Then we use ci plus 5 means sixth value of this. We store the first value of b at the position of sixth value of the c array, because first 5 values are taken by the array A, and after that values are taken by the array B. So we write ci plus 5 is equal to bi. Here uh, every time this loop executed, index value I incremented, and the next index value of array A and B are stored in the value in the third array C. After that we use for loop to display the values stored in C array, as C array stores 10 values. So we write for I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, and then we use cout object to display the values of C array one by one. So here is the output of our previous program. In the first array A we enter value 1 2 3 4 5, and into the second array we write value 6 7 8 9 and 0. Then we add these values in the third array C, and this array display the values 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 0 on the. So here is another problem statement, that is write a C++ program to reverse an array. We are also able to reverse the elements of an array. So for that we use array store R elements in an array, the basis of index. For reverse an array element, we need to interchange elements of an array to the basis of index values. To reverse an array, basically we need two arrays. So in our main program we declare two arrays, int a and b, and three variables I, j and n. Here each array a and b has the same number of size. So uh, first we write how many elements you want to enter, then we take the size which is equal to, and store the size in the variable n. Then we use this variable to enter the values in the first array, and we use for loop I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and then we enter values in the first array a. Now we want to reverse the values of array a. So we want that the element enter in the last will display uh, at the first position of this array. So that to reverse these elements we use for loop and array b. So in this for loop we write for I is equal to n minus 1, means we start from the end, and then j is equal to 0, I greater than is equal to 0, I minus minus, j plus plus. So here we use two variables I and j respectively. I for array b and j for array a elements. Then we store elements of a into the elements of array b. So we write b and index I, which is the last point, and I, which is n minus 1, and then a into j, which is 0. Then we display the values of reversed values stored in array b. Here is the output of this program. When we enter the values, for example, we enter 4 values in array a, we write -2, 3, 0 and 6. When we store reversely in the index b array, and this array b display us 6, 0, 3 and -2. Here 6 is the last element in array a, and but it is the first element in array b. Similarly, -2 is the first element of array a, but now it becomes the last element in array b. So here is